Silky Johnston. And the Hater of the Year award goes to Silky Johnston.
Do you want to know? You want to know? Okay, let's go. I'll just save it.
Okay, we are live. We are here.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. So I guess this is the first official podcast episode.
It is.
Of Through Being Cool.
Are you through being cool?
Never.
I think we are through being cool.
we are.
In a sense.
I'm not through being cool though. Can't stop, won't stop.
I mean, it's a lifestyle.
What can I say?
It's a gift.
But so we did a couple takes earlier this week. Kind of got a feel for the podcast thing.
Yeah.
And this is where we're at now. We're recording a full episode.
Yeah, we are. As long as we can continue to figure out how to use the microphones.
We've been in this place for like an hour just going through hell.
Just trying to get the microphones to work.
Yeah, it's been terrible. But we're here.
Yes, we are.
We're here.
We are here.
So, I guess a little about what this is going to be about. Is that where we're at right now?
Yeah, that's where we're at.
So what is this going to be about?
I think this is going to be about. First off, I need to say to you that I lowered the camera for one reason, and so it would be able to see my knee holes. I was like, I need people to know that there's holes in my pants. Isn't that odd? Is that odd?
Get out of here, Kanye.
I'm just saying. It's just, the knee things are in. I want people to see the holes in my knees.
All right.
So I think this podcast is going to be about everyday life. Mine, yours, whoever's.
All right.
And also with an underlying theme always of recovery, because I'm in recovery.
Same.
Couple
sober dudes
living at the beach. Normal guys, but our lives are just different than most.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say so. I mean, we've gotten to a point where we're trying to live normal lives.
Yes.
Where we are living normal lives in our day-to-day instead of wilding out all the time, so to speak. So, yeah. So I've known his bitch ass for like 18 years.
18.
Solid friendship.
Yeah.
And we've grown up together, done a bunch of stuff together, grew apart a little bit, and now we both live in South Florida beach town. We used to live in Metro Atlanta pretty much our whole childhoods.
Yeah, I met you in 6th grade or 7th grade?
7th. Because I moved to Georgia the summer before 7th grade.
So, like, right at the beginning of the school year?
Yeah, right at the beginning of the school year.
I must have met you at as soon as school started, though. I feel like I've known you since it started.
Pretty much. I mean, because, like, my mom was a teacher at our school.
So fine, by the way. Hey, Miss Stacy.
And I don't remember what happened, but like there was like me and my mom moved to Georgia. My dad stayed back and like sold the house and shit. And I was like going to school because it was summer and I didn't know anybody, so I would like go to work with her a lot and shit. And then there was like open house or something like that, and I think that's kind of like when I met everybody, like, when they like have the thing before school starts, where like you go and meet your teachers and all that. And I feel like we met then, maybe. But either way, like the first day of school, like I kind of just was like in the in crowd.
Right. When I think about that far back. I don't, and maybe you're the same. Like, I can't remember that. I remember
bits and pieces.
tiny, tiny bits and pieces.
I remember Spanish class with the blonde hair, curly hair, the sexy Miss Faulkner.
Oh,
yo,
so fine.
And Andrew, one of our good friends that we've grown up with forever, had that class with me.
She used to keep it dark, right?
Real dark.
Yeah.
And he chipped his tooth skateboarding, like in the beginning of the year, and we called him Chip forever.
Yes.
And he got so butthurt about it.
Yes, I'm so glad you remember that. Shout out Chip, a.k.a. Roto before Probo, a.k.a. Andrew O'Connor, Art Gang. He's probably going to get mad that I shouted him out on that. He gets mad about when I post stuff like on Instagram. It's really funny, like old pictures. He's like, "Hey man, can you untag me from that? Like, this is my professional account." Oh man.
Andrew Art Gang.
Yeah. That's funny though, dude.
So.
You remember anything else from that year?
From that year?
Besides, never mind.
I remember we hung out with Steven a lot and Dylan.
Yes.
And like.
I wonder what happened to him.
And Jeff.
Yeah.
And then going into 8th grade, Avery moved to our school, and that's when shit kind of changed. The game changed a little bit.
Pants started getting tighter.
Pants started getting tighter. Kids were getting pants at school all the time. All the time. Like, we were going to ISS frequently.
Oh, God.
We started smoking weed.
Yes, we did.
Drinking. Skateboarding a lot.
Playing music.
I remember we had another Spanish teacher the next year. Miss Glenn, that our friend Avery heckled basically until she quit. I think she retired from teaching, which is funny as a kid looking back, not very funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was crazy when it was going on, but now it's like, that's so sad.
So sad.
I always bring this up, but remember, there was the TVs, okay? And every morning, two people would, or there was the announcements just like news.
Yeah.
And we all found out that her and her fiance broke up. She was like been out of shape about it. And then Trevor on the news made this thing. He made it say, happy or congratulations, Miss Glenn, on your like marriage or whatever. And like, I'm pretty sure she cried and ran out of class. Like,
yeah. I mean, I wasn't in the class, I don't think, when that happened, but I remember hearing about it.
Maybe that it didn't even happen. It had to happen.
I'm pretty sure that happened.
Yeah,
I remember, like, Avery was, like, taking notebook paper and gluing it to the floor and, like, index cards and just doing all kinds of, like, he would open the window and just jump out of the window in the middle of class and, like, all kinds of crazy stuff.
He was out of control.
He was real wild. And, yeah. So that's, like, all I really remember from that era. I mean, I remember, like, us hanging out with girls a lot. Like, 8th grade, we were, like, stunned on them.
Yeah.
And then, even into high school, dude, like, the beginning of high school is still even kind of, like, blurry to me.
See, that's what when I ask, like, about memories, sometimes I wonder, is that for everyone? Like, say the people who haven't fried their brains from incessant pot smoking, 25 to 30 ecstasy pills at one time. That's true, by the way, and that's sad. That's a story for another day. But anyways, does everybody... Okay, this is why I met this guy, and he doesn't use drugs. I mean, he may now, but this was some years ago, and he said he believes he doesn't remember, like, a lot of his memories from his past for specific reasons, like a spiritual thing. That God... You know, he doesn't remember all those things for a reason.
God made him forget them.
Or whatever. I'm just saying, why don't we remember all the things that we did just from, you know?
I mean, thinking back to it, though, dude, like, shit was 15 years ago.
I don't remember what I did Last year. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I do. It was just things that they're just not that important. We're just kind of like going. We're just kids, just
Yeah.
like whatever.
Yeah, I think that's really what it is. I think. I mean, yeah, like what you said. I don't even remember like 8, 9 years ago that well. It's like I
Yeah.
do. I remember like big things that happened in life and stuff, but
Right.
like I don't know what I was doing on a day-to-day basis
Right.
8, 9 years ago. Like I was living down here.
Yeah. True. You know, truthfully though, if you think about it, me and you are close. We always have been, but dude, there's been so many years that
We haven't
like
even.
we were okay. A best friend is someone you're best friends with. You may not see for years. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Nothing changes once
Yeah.
once we meet back up.
Yeah.
But around the time me and you both started really using heavily, like in ninth grade, we went our separate ways. But we would
We
you
would
know, we
always
still
kind of
see
come
each
back.
other.
Well, and then like I don't know, ninth and 10th grade, I had some stuff happen. Like my dad passed away.
I was there for that.
Yeah, you were there for that. And then like I started doing drugs heavily at that point. Like, you know, anything. A lot of coke and, you know, oxys and all that. And so I missed 60 days of the first semester of junior year. Like because my mom, God bless her soul, Stacy,
God bless you.
you are a
Stacey.
saint.
Kurt's mom. It's got it going on.
My mom worked. She didn't work at the middle school anymore. She started working at county office, and she was tight with the receptionist at the high school. So I used to just miss like multiple days in a row, and then my mom would just write a note and just it would say, "Please excuse Kurt. He wasn't feeling well," and they'd be like, "Okay, excused absence," you know, like, and it was all good.
Yeah.
And then that's when I went to Forsyth Academy, and then you started going to Forsyth
Yes.
Academy, and then we kind of met back up because I started hanging out with Browning a lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's when like we kind of came back together for like a solid like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
The whole crew was kind of back together right after high school.
Right.
Even though like I was kind of, me and Browning moved to Georgia State or Georgia Southern. You guys would come down a lot and visit and stay weekends
Yeah,
with
see,
us.
that's around like the time like I was just off the map.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I wasn't.
You were
around.
in like a serious relationship at that time
Yes, and losing my mind.
and losing your mind.
Yeah,
Stories for another day.
definitely.
Maybe a whole podcast
Maybe-
worth of a story.
Maybe never.
But so then we saw each other a bunch, and then when I was almost right when I was about to turn 21, I moved to Florida, and I kind of just disappeared from everybody. And I would see you occasionally, like when I came back and stuff, but for like 5 years I was down here, and I just kind of disappeared. You
Yeah.
know, and got sober for a long time
Right.
and stopped partying because the party was over for that time.
I wish. Yeah, you're right.
And then I came back to Georgia, and then you were gone. And we saw each other a couple times. And then when I just came back to Florida recently, you called me, needed to do something, you know, about what was going on with you. And I was just like, come on. And the day we saw each other was just like we saw each other yesterday.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like back to what you were saying, you know, like we would go long periods of time without seeing each other, and then like it was like we saw each other last week and we were hanging out, and
Yeah.
you know,
Just odd how life is like that, though.
Yeah.
You know,
twisted turns.
just it goes. I just had like. It's just surreal how life. You go your own separate way, and now it just seems like it's a new part of life now, but it's really just the same life.
Yeah.
But different.
I agree.
You know, I always just I don't know. I wondered what you did all those years. You know, really though, when you got sober, you know, in 2010 or 9.
Yeah, 2010. Yeah, I came down here. I did good.
I know.
I was doing like really cool stuff. I was sober. Like had a life, you know. I lived in like a studio apartment on the beach by myself for a while. That was cool. I had a couple good jobs. I was in a band, a touring band for a couple of years, making records, and all was good. You know, I got sober. I was doing the recovery thing for a while. I came back to Atlanta, and I stopped doing the recovery thing. And I stayed sober for a little while when I came back to Atlanta. But I just like stopped hitting meetings and stopped, doing all these things in life that I do daily to like, kind of like a daily reprieve to like keep my mind clear and like do things. There's just a certain couple of things that I do every day, and Matt does every day that like helps keep us sober every day, basically.
Yeah, true.
And I kind of just was like, I think I was at a point where I was like, I got sober when I was 20. I had 5 years of sobriety. I was like, am I really an alcoholic? Am I really a drug addict? Did I just have like this, weird childhood where my dad passed away and, everything failed me and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, I started dating this girl in Atlanta, and she was a senior in college. And so I was going out to like the bars and stuff a lot, but I wasn't drinking at first. I was just like going out, just sober, whatever. It was all good. And then one day I was just like, maybe I'm not an alcoholic. And I think I smoked pot first, actually. No, actually, nope, I'm wrong. I went to
a rug and tug Asian massage parlor.
I wish that's where I went to and got showered in sake, but I went to
a person's
Jack's.
Oh,
I went to Jack's off Highland in Atlanta.
Where the downfall of most of us begins.
Yeah. They have $1 High Life pitchers all day, every day.
And slices of Jason pizzas, which is macaroni and cheese and bacon.
Yeah. and probably 5 Coke dealers on deck at all times.
One-stop shop.
Yeah, it's a one-stop shop for anybody who likes to hang out in Atlanta, a.k.a. a lot of cokeheads.
Yeah. So it was Coke.
No, so I went and just drank with Ryan, and we drank a couple pitchers, and I was slithered. Like, it'd been so long, I drank I think we split 3 pitchers or maybe 4, and I was toast, dude. Done. And then it was so weird, I'm 25 and I'm having my first legal drink.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was so surreal and weird. And then I don't even know. I think the girl I was dating, she smoked, and that was whatever. I knew she smoked, and she smoked around me, and it never bothered me. But I drank, and I.
Are you talking about Hello, It's Me?
Yes. So I went to her, and I guess manipulated her in a way where I was just like, look, I'm going to start drinking and shit and see how this goes. I think it's going to be okay,
Oh, so she knew you were trying to stay cool.
She knew I was sober.
And was concerned 100%. When you started.
She wasn't, I wouldn't say concerned, because I was like, look, I've been sober for 5 years. I just manipulated the situation and was just like, everything's going to be cool. If it gets out of hand, I'll just go back to AA and everything will be fine.
Yeah.
And so I went to her house and started smoking pot with her, and then
so she smoked weed.
She smoked weed and she drank,
Okay.
And so most college girls in a big city do, I feel
true.
like.
Very true.
And she hung out with a bunch of hip, cool people and shit, and so we were going out to the bars, and Edgewood was I was going out to Edgewood frequently, dude. Before shootings and stuff happening.
Well,
so.
Shout out Gucci Man.
Zone 6, Burr. And so I was living in Sandy Springs at this house that my mom was living at.
And you're how old again?
25.
25.
So
at the time.
At the time, yeah. So I'm drinking, partying, going to Edgewood all the time and stuff. And then, I don't know, man. I I definitely, like, I started dabbling in coke, you know, a little bit here and there because it was just like that's part of the drinking scene in Atlanta. It's just like everyone does coke there. It's fucking weird.
It is.
It's like so you'll just be sitting at dinner and like someone will just like hit a line right in front of you and you're like, you know, I can see you, right? Like they don't even have the courtesy to go to the bathroom. You know, it's just like it's very surreal. And so like I kept it cool for a while, I would say.
And this is after 5 years sober.
Yeah, I kept it cool for like a few months, and like was dabbling in coke and stuff, and then I moved to Atlanta to a house with Ryan, Jordan, and Mikey, three of our closest friends. We're all still friends today, which is another oddity that we have.
Free Breezy, ho. I've been calling Mikey Breezy.
Oh, okay. Shout out, Mikey.
Yeah. Bradshaw Breezy. Oh, damn it, I did it again.
I don't think he'll care.
Sorry. Yeah, he probably like it, actually.
He probably would.
Yeah. Like, yo,
Yo.
podcast, bro.
Yo, shout out to my boy making skinny jumpsuits out there in the state pen right now.
Your boy got the sewing game on lock, diz down.
Dude, when you told me about that, I couldn't believe it. Like,
bro, dude, I have a video of him where he's showing me these shorts he made, where he took the stripes and freaking, like, cuffed around his shorts and stuff like that. Sorry to get off topic.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Like, it just baffles me because I never been to prison. I've done a lot of county time. You know what I mean? Like, probably like accumulated like a year's worth of county time within a 2-year span.
Yeah, but that wasn't. That was all before.
That was
you got sober
before.
and came
Yeah,
back,
that
right?
was kind of like the catalyst to like me getting sober. You know, it was like I was doing all this county jail time, spending 2 months here, 4 months here, 3 months here.
I'm more interested in where we left off of you started doing coke.
Yeah.
And Adele was cool. Oh fuck! Damn it! Did it again, dude.
It's all good.
Okay, I'm sorry. I keep saying people's names I'm not supposed to. What did your girlfriend? Did your girlfriend? We'll just have to edit that out.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend knew that you were doing coke?
Kind of. Like I remember one time like I had some and I was like, yo, like do this with me. And she did it and she wasn't like super keen on it, you know? Like she had done it a couple times, but like she wasn't into that whole thing.
So she wasn't like, when you started using, so she wasn't like tripping about it. She was just like, oh, you know, whatever.
No, because I kind of was like, I mean, I was drinking, smoking weed, and like, I was making good money. Like, I was bartending. Like, things were good.
Oh, you're
like,
bartending.
Yeah, I like tricked my way into bartending.
Tight.
Like, I'd never bartended before, and I like convinced these people I knew what I was doing. And really, I'm just like behind the bar looking at my phone, like how to make drinks real quick and shit when people order them. So like, I'm making 1,000+ cash a week probably. You know, like good money.
Wow.
I'm living in this 4-bedroom house with our friends, and rent's not that expensive for Atlanta for us. I think we were paying like $600 each, which is pretty cheap right now in Atlanta.
Right.
For a house, you know. And we're in Kirkwood, Zone 6, like East Atlanta, like very hip part of town right now. Like everyone wants to be there, right behind Little 5 Points. And I'm drinking, everything's cool, and then maybe 3 to 5 months after, my girlfriend at the time was like, yo, she used to hang out with she hung out with these, like, 3 girls, all really attractive girls, like, the whole crew, and then they had this other friend. She was a slob. I'm not, but and like
slug.
and I just never got along with her from the get. Like I don't know. I didn't vibe with this girl. Like she wasn't cool. She just like acted like her shit didn't stink, and she had no reason to act that way. You know.
Sure, it did stink.
I'm 100% sure it did.
Yeah.
So she's like, yo, she's having this house party. She just moved into this new house in Grant Park. And it's like one of those Grant Park colonial houses, you know? It's like a big old school with like the curved staircase and shit in it. So I remember I opened the bar I was working at. And I still didn't, I had a car, but it was like at the shop or something. So I was like skating everywhere. And I had this like Top Shop members only jacket. And so it It was a heater.
Oh.
So I was at work and I got off and I copped like 2 grams of coke at work that day because I was like, I'm going out tonight. Like, shit's gonna get crunk.
Me and my boys, we all got the same haircut. They're getting pussy tonight.
and so I was swan dive into the pussy, you know? So I remember, like, I went to the house, got all, like, dapper and shit. I'm wearing, like, Clark's Desert boots with, like, the rolled up jeans and this members only jacket. This is all important, by the way.
Yes, it is. It's very important.
But it actually comes into the story. So
Okay.
then I go and I'm drinking Fireball at this time. Like, this is when Fireball was
Naturally.
hot. Like,
Naturally.
So I went and got, like, a handle of Fireball.
Of course.
And this jacket I had, the whole bottle would fit in the inside pocket. So I'm
Sick.
skating with this shit. I've got a couple grams of coke. I got this bottle in my pocket. I'm skating over to this house party. It's in Grant Park. It's probably like 2 or 3 miles from my house. And I come in, and everybody thinks like everybody's cool. Like, we're kicking it. There's a couple dudes who were like, I don't know who they were friends with there and shit, but they were in the Navy and they were home or whatever.
Seaman.
Yeah, they were seamen, Navy seamen. And I just pull this bottle out and I'm just like, cause they had like brought, you know, they had drinks for everybody and shit. And I'm just like, nah, I ain't drinking that. I got my own shit. And I'm just turning it up, like bubbles coming out. And I drank this whole fucking bottle in like 45 minutes. Like, no joke. And so I just like, I remember being there, everybody's cool and shit, and then me and the girl I'm dating, I remember we sat on the couch, and I remember I was being a dick to her. And I was probably like just being super insecure or whatever it was, you know. And then next thing I remember, I'm getting escorted out of the building by these 2 guys. And so, the Navy guys.
The seaman.
Yeah, so I'm kicked out, and I skate home. And then the night goes on, and I don't know what happened, honest to God, but the girl I was dating wouldn't answer her phone. Like, one of her friends took the phone and was, like, picking it up, and she was like, we're not letting you talk to her, like, all this shit, and I'm just like,
Damn,
I'm
dude.
like, yo, what the fuck? Like, this is my girlfriend, like,
Yeah.
Y'all
You
are-
must have been
y'all-
being a total
y'all are on
fucking-
some bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
So then I remember
I'm assuming you're going to end up using heroin at the end of this.
No, not at all.
Really?
And so I'm at the house and I'm so wasted, dude. I just drank a handle in an hour by myself, you know, and I'm like snorting coke and like I go to the house by myself and Wolfgang. You remember Wolfgang?
Is that his real name?
That's his real name, yeah.
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, Wolfgang van Beethoven.
So our friend Wolfgang was hanging out a lot, and like I don't remember how he came over to the house because like all the other roommates were gone, and I'm like crying and like, you know, this raging ball of emotion and shit. And
Raging fireball.
yeah, raging fireball of emotion. And he's just like, dude, calm down. I'm like, no, fuck this. I'm calling an Uber and going over there. And like, he was like trying to contain me to this room. And I remember crawling out of the window and like running. And he like came across the yard and tackled me and was like,
Wolfgang?
yeah, dude. And he was like, look, let's go to Camelli's. And so I go up to Camelli's and everyone there is just like, dude, you need to go home. And like, it's hard to be told that at Camelli's. And so Wolfgang takes me back home, and I convince him with an eighth of mushrooms that I had stashed to take me back over to this party. So he ends up taking me to the party. He walks up to the front door and knocks, and he's like, Kurt, you stay back there. And as soon as he knocks, he's like, look, Kurt's really upset. He just wants to see this girl, blah, blah, blah. And I just I rage into the fucking house, and they like instantly just grab me up and toss me back out.
The seaman?
The seaman.
Okay.
Wolfgang brings me back home. Now I'm real blackout drunk. Wolfgang leaves me there. He's like, I'm done with you, dude. Whatever. Like, see ya. I guess I Uber over there a third time.
Are you kidding me?
It's like 4 in the morning.
Wow.
It's like 4 in the morning.
Relentless.
Yeah. And I'm like in a I remember what happened, like what I did when I got to the house, but like getting there, don't remember getting there. So I remember I got there, and I'm still wearing the same outfit, the boots, all that. And I start beating on the door and ringing the doorbell, and all the lights are off at this point. Like, motherfuckers are in bed and shit, you know? And I'm like, yo, let me in this fucking house right now. Let me in. And the dude just comes up. He won't even open the door, but he just stands right there. He's like, dude, just fucking go away, man. Like, just leave. And I'm like, all right. And then I roll over the fence, and it's like a big wooden fence. And I'm like, apparently I broke like a bunch of like the spikes off the top of the fence when I was rolling over it. And I went around to like the windows, was like grabbing screens off of it, trying to break into the house.
All for what?
A girl, you know?
Yeah, but to what? Like, what would you do when you even got to her? You know?
I don't know, dude.
Did you get to her?
No, I was so blackout drunk. So I go around, and I probably ripped like 8 screens off the windows and seeing if they're open and just like broke them. And then I walk all the way around this backyard and come over the fence on the other side, break some more spikes off the top of the fence, and I go back to the front door, and I'm beating on the door, and they're like, dude, fucking leave, man, you're fucking annoying, you know? And I was like, all right, I'll fucking leave. And these colonial houses have these big 10-foot windows in the front of the houses, and I just go, and just kick the window out of the front of this house, dude. Like, this window's like 10 foot by 20 foot or something stupid.
Did it
like,
shatter?
Shattered.
Oh my
Shattered
gosh.
everywhere. And all you hear is, and all the glass falls out of it. And I'm just like, fuck. And I start running, and I saw an Uber sitting there. But I think I was out of money on my debit card, or I was just too drunk to know what was going on. And I was like, dude, you have to get me out of here. I was like, I'll give you $30 cash right now. And he's like, no. And I was like, dude, please. And I begged him, and he finally gave me a ride for $30 cash. And apparently I went home, and I blacked out in my bed. And apparently the cops came to the house while I was sleeping. I had no idea. And they, like, beat on the windows, but they couldn't just come in the house. So, like, they filed a police report, all this stuff. The next day, I'm, like, the most hungover I've ever been. My mom instantly pays to, like, fix the window, fix all the damages. The girl still wants to press charges on me. But the moral of the story is, like, that this was, like, the first time that, like, I was like, all right, I can't keep this under control.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I manipulated the girl I was dating, once again, and convinced her that I was not in the wrong.
Well, you weren't, really. I don't understand where you were wrong in that story.
Who knows?
You had these asshole Navy seamen just, like, not letting you see your girlfriend.
So she ended up resenting the girl that was her friend because she still wanted to press charges against me after my mom paid to fix all this shit. So they don't speak anymore. So I, like, ruined their friendship entirely. Mm. So, you know, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I won't lie and say that I liked her. And in the moment, I was probably like, yeah, good, fuck her, you know? Right, but looking back on it, I'm like, damn, that's a really fucked up thing to do. Like, you know, but, like, so that happened. And then there were just, like, a number of instances that followed. And it was all just drunkenness. Like, I got in a fist fight with a dude at the local, like, very shortly after that. The house that we were living in, I punched, like, 6 holes in the wall and in the ceiling. Like, when we moved out, like, we didn't get any of our deposit back because I like, did all this crazy shit.
So, while you weren't drinking through those 5 years, you weren't just punching holes in houses
Absolutely
and ripping screens off?
No, I was, like...
I'm just making,
no.
So, it was way out of the ordinary for you to be acting like a maniac.
Yeah. And so, like, in my head, I was like, damn, I'm fucked up, you know, like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And, like, there were a couple times, like, I remember once I went and got a sponsor in Atlanta, and I, like, made it to, like, you know, the 4th step, and then just...
For alcohol?
For, like, just alcohol, yeah, because I was just, like, out of control, dude, you know? And then I, like, quit, and because it was just so around me, you know? Like, all my roommates drank, it was mm-hmm. You know, and I think that I knew that it was wrong and that I was an alcoholic, but I just didn't want to stop either, you know? That was the thing. Like, I really hadn't... I had consequences, like, as far as I was putting all stress on all my relationships, but like financially, I was good. I was living in a nice house in Atlanta. Like, I think I had gotten a car then. By then, um, I got in another fight at a party at one of our friends' houses. It was her birthday party. I like ruined the whole party. I was just like a wild maniac. And then pretty shortly after that, I started bartending at the same company, same restaurant, but another location off Ponce, at Camelli's off Ponce.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who was a chef at a restaurant right down the street, and he came over every night. And he was like, "Yo, I got perks," and I was just like, "Cool,"
Say less.
I remember I took 2 perk 10s and was like fucked up for like a whole day, like straight. It was insane.
Dang.
It was crazy. And so after that, like, shit got crazy, and I got my hands on some oxys, like, right after that, and then that wasn't cool enough, and I just started doing heroin.
Again.
And then, again, and, was living a double life behind the girl I was dating. We dated for, like, 4 years, because, and once again, like, I just didn't have consequences. Like, I still had the good job, I still had a car, I was still paying my bills, I was doing all these things, but, like, I was making enough money to, like, have a serious habit, too, And then things started, like, unwinding a little bit, and, like, still had the job, but I didn't have enough money, And I started stealing shit from people and started, getting into some, like, wild actions. And then, kind of like leads me to here, there's some in between stuff. Like, I moved
A lot.
Yeah, there is. Like, I came down here last year and got sober for like 6 months and went back home and ran through everything. Homeless for a little bit.
How do you feel just talking about all this, and like while you're telling it, knowing that there's like a whole bunch of things that you really wouldn't even want to say?
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm
I mean,
just saying,
there's so much being left out.
Yeah, well, of course, but I mean, like, bringing it up and talking about it.
How do I feel about it? It is. I mean, it's my story, dude. Like, that. It's just kind of. I've felt the guilt and the shame from it already. You know what I mean? And like, I could, if I was to just sit here and wallow in that over and over again for the rest of my life, I probably would just still be getting high. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of why I think I got high so much, is because, like, at a point it stopped being fun and it just became like guilt and fear and shame based. Where it was just like, I'm doing this because I'm fearful of getting sober. I'm doing this because I feel guilty about all the things I did yesterday and in the past, and shameful, all these things. But really, like, it's just a lesson learned for me at this point. Like, I can't move forward if I have that holding me back.
True that.
And that's kind of, where we are, where you and I are. We're in Florida. We're doing well.
Yeah.
I think we're both doing good.
Yeah. Considering, where we've come from.
Yeah, absolutely. Shit's it's an interesting life, I would say.
Yes.
There's not been a dull moment in a very long time.
There's been a lot of hurtful, crazy moments.
Absolutely.
Maybe never dull.
Never dull. A lot of hurt. A lot of pain. It seemed like I was just like the person who, like, everyone I touched, was just like getting hurt. Period.
That kind of hurt me. I'm being serious. That was deep. That was super deep.
Yeah.
That sucks. But I don't say that, that's my way of expressing that. Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Just saying I hate that, though. That I'm the same. I mean, me too.
Yeah.
It's sad that it's been like that,
And
I can relate.
I think a lot of people can relate. And maybe it's not that they can relate that they did a bunch of drugs and became homeless and did all this stuff and got sober, but like,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of things that people feel guilt and shame for that they let hold them back, you know, whether it's like stealing or cheating or lying or, you know, there's a plethora of things that people feel guilt and shame for, and I think that we just like, as humans, want to wallow in that guilt and like, you know, live in it, you know, and that's not healthy. Like, it's not a good way to be at all.
Right. That's interesting because you know, I think the word guilt. I am guilty of having done certain things in my past. As you know, we're guilty, but the feeling of guilt isn't something. There's a healthy way to experience, and there's another word for it. What is it? It's like, in a way, guilt is a negative way of. There's another word for it. To feel maybe remorse.
Remorseful. Remorseful.
I'm saying take the negative and look at it as positive. You still feel the same feeling, but you in a different way.
I think
you're not feeling guilt and shame anymore, although in a way you're guilty of having what you did.
Yeah.
Maybe you're remorseful.
I know what you're saying. I don't know if remorseful is the word for it either, but I think
maybe you just don't feel anything. Maybe you just.
I mean, for just speaking for me, like, and this may not be for everybody. I think at this point I'm like, I wouldn't say happy that I've gone through these things, but I'm not unhappy that I went through them because it's kind of like what I had to do to get to this point in my life. And it also gives me something to like, who knows, someone out there, there's a lot of people who have gone through the same shit that I have, you know, there's a lot.
Yeah.
And like, it gives me an opportunity to like bond with them over that and show them that there's a way out.
Deep.
You know? So it like, in a positive way, it like helps me be a better person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's, I know what you're trying to say as far as like
perception.
Yeah, it's very perceptive. I would say.
I have a way of perceiving things in a negative light. It's just a bad habit that I have. But you, I've noticed, are way more positive. The way, like, there's two ways of looking at like everything. You know what I mean? You look at everything in a positive light, and I'm still kind of like looking at it. Things in a negative way.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's certain days where I wake up and I'm just like, ugh, I fucking did that. Like, God, you know.
God.
But like,
who are you?
Instead of just sitting there worrying about it, I just like try and take some sort of action, I guess, towards living a better life, and it kind of helps me not only forget about it, but like use it as a tool to help other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, that's deep because, you know, with my sponsor, I got into it. Like we kind of got into it over when I said I didn't want to be a sponsor. I didn't think I was ready. But that's my negative thinking, and you know, he responded with,
It's selfish of you to not.
You're so selfish.
It's so self-ish of you to not want to give it back.
I've been sober for 7 years. Listen to me.
Yeah.
Okay? Or don't. Fine. I mean, obviously what I'm doing isn't working. You know, being sarcastic and funny about it, but it was, you know, it's all about looking at it in a different light of being negative, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's I mean, not everyone gets it like right away as far as sobriety. Like, I have kind of like I won't say I have a head start because it's like kind of egotistical to say, but I have had, you know, 5 years of sobriety where like I was doing all the same things and it worked for me. And it was the only thing that ever worked for me, you know, was like, as, you know, cheesy as I think it is to say, like doing steps and like having a sponsor and going to meetings and doing these things, like aesthetically it's just like, oh, that's cornball, you know what I mean? Like, it's corny, like, but really I've probably tried to stay sober every other way possible in life, and none of it has worked except for that. And that's really why I do it, you know, because like I've gone down the hallway and tried every single door, and it was the last door, and it worked, you know, and that was it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can get with that. I can definitely get with that.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, if you can get sober, like, if you can get sober without doing that stuff, like, power to you, you know what I mean? But, you looking at your hurt hands?
They hurt. Yes. Ouch. They're so sensitive.
Matt's been working at the beach, and his hands hurt.
They're soft from all the oil, though. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. They do hurt, but it's whatever. So, you know, now that... How do I want to ask this? Just what is your... Everyone has an individual... okay, apart from everyone having their own purpose.
Sure.
Maybe you don't even think that. Maybe you think everyone's the same. To me, everyone's got a different one. What is it with you now that you're getting sober again? What is life besides getting sober, you know?
What is life, dude? I don't know, man. Like, I don't think I'm special by any means.
Yes,
like,
you are.
I mean...
In your own way.
Yeah, and I get that. And I understand that, but, like, I'm not some celebrity or, like, you know, anything of that nature. Like, I think of myself as an average guy, you know? Like, I have my, like, hobbies. Like, I do a few things on the side that I, like, enjoy. You know, I thrift and, like, I am into, like, vintage clothes a lot, fashion.
So life is fashion.
I mean, like, I like fashion. I like music. You know, I like hanging out, being vegan. You know?
Yeah.
I think that all, like, kind of like, the vintage thing and veganism are kind of like an aligned thing for me. Yeah, they're like all about like not only like is veganism about the ethical treatment of animals and stuff, but it also like it's like recycling. It helps save the earth. You know, it saves water consumption. It saves carbon footprint. You know, and so does like vintage clothing. Same thing. Saves water, saves carbon footprint. You know, it saves landfill space. Like all these things.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, there's like a bunch of things like that. They both kind of encompass that same thing. So, I think that like as far as what my purpose is just like at this point to stay sober so that I can have any life that I want. You know.
Do you not think that having gone through what you've gone through, that knowing what you know now, you know it, so you're able to, you know, guide somebody else in the right way? Like maybe
and I think that's
one of your purposes is to give it back.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was trying to say is like, as far as like sobriety goes, like, yeah, I think that like my purpose is to stay sober, and how I do that is by giving back what so freely was given to me. You know what I mean? Like somebody took the time out of their day to help me, and now it's like my purpose to like help someone else who's new, you know, and like do the same thing for them.
Okay.
And I think, you know, it's once again like on the surface it sounds cheesy to me, you know, it like really does. Like it's not when I was 15 or 16 or 18, I was like, yo, I'm going to walk this earth and help people like stay sober. Like that was not like what I thought was going to happen, you know? But looking back, it's like, it's good. I don't hate it. It's simple.
Yeah.
You know, and like I am now free enough where I'm able to do whatever I want. I can make whatever I want my purpose at this point, you know, like I'm not stuck anywhere. Like I'm not shoving needles in my arm all the time or whatever. And, like, I'm, that, like, those chains were, like, holding me down from doing whatever I wanted to do for so long. And now I can do whatever I want. There's no limit to it, you know? So.
Yeah, that's a good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I like it better.
Yeah, than living on the street as a homeless guy.
Almost dying every day, like, or playing Russian roulette.
Changing the price tags on miscellaneous items from different shopping centers and stealing them and returning them.
So much crazy shit. So much. Internet scams, like, and just pure and simple, just theft.
And then probably not showering too much.
Not at all.
Like ever.
Ever.
So there's that.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No. My quality of life was real low.
Yeah.
Now my quality of life is pretty up there.
It's up there.
Like, I would say it's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
showering, I'm not so sure if that's any different or not yet, but you're getting there for sure.
Yeah, I would say so.
The quality of hair style is better. The blonde mullet.
The blonde mullet.
And you couldn't have afforded bleach or a haircut when you were living that other life.
Not at all.
So.
I don't think I paid for this haircut or the bleach either. Just putting that out there.
You didn't.
It was free. He cut the hair, actually.
Yeah. And also helped bleach it.
And at the time, I also had a wicked handlebar mustache.
Oh, man.
Why did I take that thing down?
I don't want to say what I really think. I don't want to say why, because it's going to come across as offensive. I'm going to say it. You're no longer a man. That's why. That's why. It crawled off your face and crawled on someone else's face like Chuck Norris.
Yeah. I felt like Chuck Norris when I had that thing.
You were. I think you embodied him, when the mustache was there.
When I had the denim outfit, the denim suit with the
Canadian tuxedo.
Canadian tuxedo with the teal blue cowboy boots. One
of the hardest outfits I've ever seen. That was the day the game died.
Yeah, there was a funeral procession.
It was in January of 2020. That was it. The game over with.
Kerplunk, it was out.
Headstone. Well,
how long have we been talking?
At least 30 minutes.
I think longer.
45?
52 minutes.
What time is it?
It is 1:49.
We only have it till 2.
Wow.
Unless no one has...
It was so easy to talk for an hour.
Yeah, it was. Well, if no one's going to come in here at 2, then we can still stay in here for a minute, mess around. Do you want to... Well, we got to quit for now.
Well, let's quit. I got pissed really bad.
Do you really?
I do.
All right. So we're going to adjudicate? We're going to stop?
Adjudicate's definitely not a word.
All right. You know what? This meeting is adjourned, or is adjourning at the moment.
Court is adjourned. Gavel.
Yeah.
So, how many times you heard that?
Yeah. So we're gonna. We want to let people know a little bit about us. Obviously today we're talking about Kurt. We're really may not even be finished talking about Kurt.
Who knows?
So that's basically what this is going to be about a little bit. Just at first. So we want people to know who we are and what we're about. But we're going to be talking about whatever, really.
Yeah.
Everything, a day in our life.
My life, his life, and then, we may have some guests here and there.
Oh, most definitely.
And just kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
We're just having fun with this, but
I'm enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it. I like it.
Yeah.
I think we were made for this.
I think we were. I know we were.
Superstar. Molly Shannon is
so funny.
Making out with oak trees and shit.
All right, cool.
She rewinds videotapes at the VHS store, at Blockbuster or whatever.
Yeah.
So good. All right. With that, court is adjourned. Gavel. Goddamn.